Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to talk about unvaccinated children within the U.S. Do you have children, young siblings, or go out into the world? Would you want to catch measles just because you went out and decided to go grocery shopping? No, I didn't think so. So why would people be allowed to not vaccinate their children? Laws should be put in place that say you have to vaccinate so you don't bring childhood diseases like the measles, mumps, smallpox, and polio back into the world that were eradicated whenever the vaccines came out to try and herd prevent, which means everyone gets the vaccine, so it's kind of eradicates the disease and nobody comes out. Well, childhood diseases are coming back at a rapid rate because some parents are concerned that vaccines are causing autism and could cause more further harm, and there's too many vaccines out there that children have to get. Well, when looking at why parents think it can cause autism, there was one person who decided, he stuck out his journal saying that it causes autism, but he has now been discredited and taken away from the scientific world, so most people don't believe him anymore, except for the very few people who are anti-vax. But when you come to think about it, would you rather have your child be vaccinated and possibly be slightly autistic, and you have to love them just a little bit more, or would you rather have them in a hospital bed fighting for their life over something that they could have been prevented at the earliest age of 2 months? Or then you have the people who say there's too many vaccines. Well, right now, there are only 10 vaccines children have to get. But you have to get boosters for them throughout their small child life. Some of which are, you have to get the chickenpox vaccine if you haven't had the chickenpox. You get the chickenpox vaccine at 1, and then you get a second dose at the age of 4 to 6. Or you won't get it all. Like, say I had the chickenpox, I never got the vaccine because I had it at the age of 6 months or younger. So they don't have to get one. But if they never got the chickenpox, they have to get vaccinated just to go to school. Then you have 5 doses of the DTaP, or Tdap, if you prefer it that way, which prevents whooping cough, tetanus, and rhombus. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. You get that one at 2 months, a booster at 4, another booster at 6, and then another booster at 15 months, and then 4 years old. You will get the last booster. Then you have 3 doses of the Hib virus vaccine. And that one you get at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then depending on what brand your doctor started out with, you might have to have an additional shot at a year old. Then you have Hep A, which there's 3 doses. Right when you're born out of your mama, you get the first one. The second one is at 2 months. The third is at 18. Then, again, if you have a certain brand of it, you get the fourth at 18 months. Then you have the option of the annual flu vaccine, which most parents, like mine, don't have you get since that isn't optional. And the flu vaccine is just the last year's vaccine. So they chose not to, which that one won't necessarily hurt. You'll just get sick or fever, the works. The next is the measles, mumps, and rubella, which is given at 12 to 15 months, and then the second dose is at 4 years old. That one, the measles, has been coming back, which is an airborne disease, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. Next, then you have the PCV vaccine, which you have 4 doses at 2 months, 6 months, 4 months, and 12 months. And then you have polio, which is another fun disease that can paralyze you if not protected against, which you're given at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and 4 years old. Then you have rotavirus at 2 and 4 months. And all this information came off of vaccineinformation.org. And I personally think the federal government should go and get involved into all of this So you must get vaccines to go into public places because no one wants their child to be so sick they must go to the hospital and fight for their lives. Like there's now about, since 2001, we have had, in just the state of New York, there's been 32 cases in just one Manhattan area within a year of measles, and 5 kids died. So, Rockland County, New York officials declared a state of emergency and enforced all minors to be vaccinated against the measles. Parents that refuse to obey the law and get their children vaccinated could be punished by a $500 fine or up to 6 months in jail. That came off the New York Times website. They did a big article on measles and mumps. Then the greatest example that should take place in the U.S. is the healthcare system people look after. That's why you should get your children vaccinated, because you can have, children and older adults, it can actually kill them if they get certain childhood diseases. So in this speech, we've talked about the good and bad of vaccines, and we focused on one illness that is threatening our country because anti-vax parents at this point. When it comes to what should be done, we should look at what other countries and cities are doing to take action for the youth of the country on up-to-date shots, and so they're not getting it too late. So if the children or plan to have children, consider all other people and their children on getting to prevent diseases or not. So you don't end up, your child gets the measles, and just because somebody else is vaccinated, it's airborne. Measles can just travel from a simple achoo at school, and it goes from this child to this child, even if they have been vaccinated, because it's just herd vaccinations. So it's not, they're entirely protected, but since everyone's protected against it, it eradicates the disease, and that's what we should go back to.